Yes, yes, boys. Ryjack back for another live stream. Very excited to be back with you guys on YouTube. There has been a bit of transfer news that I want to discuss, go over, and discuss with the chat and the subs. So before we do start, always appreciate any new people, sub, like, comment, whatever. Get interactive in the chat. Just let me know your thoughts on what's going on with City. It's interesting. It's a weird time period. There's a lot of news, but at the same time, there's kind of not a lot of news. So I have a bunch of bookmarked tweets to go over the last, I don't know, like 3, 4, 5 days or so to discuss kind of my thoughts on the transfer market situation and what City plan to do or may do, have the capability of doing. And then, of course, we could do some questions from the chat and just go over some stuff and talk. Anyway, let me go over here to the first story of the day. We'll start here. First story. And I have this nice new scene where I've got me and you see the Man City background, and you can see it's better probably than putting the camera on the actual page. So this is maybe this will work better for you guys. 3 days ago, City target Denzel Dumfries following Kyle Walker officially leaving for Burnley. Now, first thing on the Kyle Walker deal, it's a free transfer with, if Burnley stay in the Prem and he plays 70% of the games, we get something like 5 million euros, which is fantastic business from Hugo Viana. I really thought it would just be a free transfer. We just release him from contract, and the opportunity to get 5 million euros or pounds or whatever it is for Kyle Walker, a guy who we all knew was not going to ever play again for City, is good business, and it's well done. Well done from Hugo. Will he achieve that bonus? I don't know. I feel like the teams that come up from the Championship to the Prem, the last 2 seasons, it's been straight up, straight down. So who knows? Maybe Burnley will buy some more players and be able to stay up, but seems like unlikely at the moment. Anyway, Dumfries is the one right back City are linked to. And again, Steve K, decent source, not a super reliable source, but not like one of those bozo sources that some of them we've discussed before. It's not bad. Some conflicting reports on Denzel Dumfries, of course, because right here it says we have open talks with Inter for Denzel, who's got a 25 million euro release clause until July 15th. That is about a week away at the moment. And then a bit down the line, we find out that City are not actually that interested in Denzel Dumfries. But this report did gain some traction, and maybe it happens. I'm not sure it happens this quickly. I feel like July 15th, this release clause situation, we would see some advancement much quicker than what we've actually seen. So for me, it's unlikely we do this 25 million release clause, and if a deal gets done, maybe it's August, something like that. But just to manage all options and take a look, as far as a fullback goes, this is his FBref page, which we always like to check to see about the type of player they are, who they're similar to, etc., etc. You can tell the attacking statistics are very good in favor of Dumfries. And me, I have not watched, hundreds of hours of Dumfries like I have a lot of Prem players, but I have seen Dumfries at least probably 10 or 15 times. Like, I feel like I have a good understanding of the type of player he is. He is solid at the back. He is big, kind of physically imposing. He's got versatility, can play in a back 3 for sure. Inter a lot of times will do like a back 3, back 5 situation, and I've seen him play as a center back in the back 3 and a wing back, or in a back 4. So I do think he's got positional versatility, which we all know Pep is a big fan of. If you see here, his numbers offensively are very good, which is what you want to see when you're talking about a Man City fullback. You don't want him to be too defensive, which has been my initial criticism of Tino Livramento, guy who got 1 goal, 2 assists in 38 games. Again, you don't have to be a guy that gets 10 G&A and whatnot, but I would like you to be up a bit from like 3 in 38 games as a fullback, which leads me to believe he is a more defensive option than Dumfries is. Again, in the middle here, this is a bit interesting. Passes attempted. Normally, a City player is going to have extremely high on the passes attempted number, so that does stand out. Maybe this is just the way Inter play, and it's not really a Dumfries issue. He's not really progressively passing the ball. Doesn't have a high pass completion percentage, but he is carrying the ball forward very solidly. He's taking players on. He is at the utmost level for touches in the attacking penalty area, which is, it's good. Something that would most likely be required of him should he come to City. And again, passes received. Again, another good, impressive stat. Tackles is a bit low. Interceptions is very low, but maybe Inter have the ball a whole lot, and that's why those numbers are down. Those numbers are skewed a lot of the times when teams play the way they do. Blocks is very high, and here is a very important one, for me at least. Aerials 1, almost the best you can be as a fullback. Aerials 1 is huge. City seriously lack aerial winners. In the Al Hilal game, we got beat on set pieces because we have poor winners of the ball in the air, unfortunately. That is just statistically true. Ruben Diaz is not extremely gifted in the air. Gavardiol is okay. Ake is, again, okay, but Ake is probably on the decline in terms of ability. The guys that are actually good at aerial duels, like Vitor Hayes and Abdikadir Kusanov, were not on the pitch. So just a statistical, factual situation that improving our aerial duel winning percentage will improve the defense. And you need players who are good at that to do that. Players he is similar to, interesting one, Jeremy Frimpong. He doesn't really have a similar build to Frimpong. Frimpong is much smaller, much slighter, much quicker. He's a very different type of player, but I guess they get in similar areas where they're wing backs and they get up and down a lot and contribute both offensively and defensively. So I guess that does make sense. Munoz, one at Crystal Palace, who City have been like semi-linked with. There was one a little while ago for Munoz, but I don't think that'll happen. Probably not quite the profile City are going to go for. Again, another older player like Dumfries, who we do have to admit is 29 years old. Not typically an area where City are looking in the market, but Fernandinho was 29 when we bought him, and he ended up one of our best ever players. So I don't think we should out and out dismiss, Dumfries as an option. Federico DiMarco, one of the similar players, one of the best fullbacks in the world. Big fan of DiMarco, me personally at least. Now, if you click on attacking mid / wingers, it's probably very different names you get here, because I don't think that's really an accurate description of what he is. Like, if you're considering him a winger and not a fullback, then yes, obviously his numbers extremely go way up here and way down here. But I would really more class him as a fullback. Ahmed says, big up, Jack. Thank you, man. Ahmed, welcome to stream. Hope you are doing well. My guy, my first stream in quite a while, but fortunately, there's just not been a whole lot of news, man. There's been not a whole lot going on, The contract he's on is less than 100,000 euros a week. Obviously, City could improve on that if they wanted to. I am curious to see his G&A from last year. 7 goals, 2 assists. I mean, that's solid for sure. For a right wing back, I'd be much happier with a 9 G&A fullback than the Livramento, who had 3. Now, again, Livramento is a totally different situation. He's obviously going to cost way more, way younger, and we have more longevity there, of course. But Dumfries, for me, while the reports were shut down, maybe we come back later in the window and it gets reopened as an option if we sort out our homegrown issue. I think it's a good option, good stopgap. Is he an upgrade on Mateus Nunes and Rico Lewis? I think that is an important question, and I would say yes, he probably is. I'm a fan of Denzel Dumfries for sure. So at the moment, nothing there, but I think it's important that we do discuss it and just make sure we're aware of what's going on. Now, we get to July 7th, which is now yesterday morning. We get a bit of a weird Nico G saga situation going on. Report comes out on the 6th, so 2 days ago. There's a build report that says sources say and don't say who it is, and then there's another report that says sources say and don't say who it is, that Nico G could leave City. He wants to move. City are open to selling him. They don't see him as a project. And I remember when I saw it, I was like, there is no way. This is some fake BS. I'm not buying this. But you can see by the impressions here, 4.2 million on this Nico G news. It was very big news for all of yesterday morning. And it says, from Fabrizio Romano, who is obviously a big name, big time transfer guru guy who breaks news all the time. An exit is not guaranteed nor 100%, depends on offers, but there is a feeling that the midfielder is not that crucial for the project, one to watch. Now, the important thing that, from what I understand, Fabrizio gets the news from agents, not really from clubs, and especially news from City. City are very quiet at the moment. They are not dropping news much at all, from what I can see. It's just there's not much coming out of the club. So these rumors, I am willing to bet that they were originated from either Nico Gonzalez's agent or Nico Gonzalez's camp, as sort of, why am I not playing? What's good? What's going on? I think it's a fair point to be made. If you look at how much he played versus probably what we all anticipated him playing, I mean, we went into the January window thinking we absolutely 100% need to sign a midfielder because we cannot continue what we're doing. And we went out and immediately bought Marmouche and 2 center backs. And it was like, when are we going to get this midfielder? And we got him like February 1st or 2nd or something, like the last day of the window. So again, very strange we waited that long for the position that we wanted to strengthen probably the most, if you ask a fan. And he just never really got a run of games. It's very strange. If you pull him up, which I always like to do this, just because I think this is one of the best sites out there, is just to see things and compare. I really like this thing. Again, Spanish, 23. Next year, something we cannot forget, it's a World Cup year. Is he locked into that plane ride at the moment? No chance. He does not have a ton of games for Spain. There's a chance he makes it, yes, but the only chance he makes it is if he plays. So, for me, I'm thinking if I'm Nico G, I need minutes. Maybe that's what that report was all about. It's just putting a bit of pressure on Man City, saying, I do want to play. It's really important to me that I play. And maybe that's where the rumors initially originated, but City, of course, today have come out and said this is fake news. We want him to stay. He wants to stay. Again, Fabrizio said one to watch. We'll see. Hopefully it is not one to watch and we can shut it down, because I would be pretty upset if we lost out on Nico G that quickly. It just for me wouldn't really make much sense. Similar players for him: Thuram, Juventus, very solid; Anguissa, Napoli, solid; Pop Sarr, again, solid; Thomas Partey, solid. Again, none of these names are outstanding names, but the guy just didn't get a whole lot of game time. If you look here, we signed him at the beginning of February, and he played 11 games. It's just a bit, it's just a bit strange. It's not really what I would have expected. I kind of thought this guy would be a starter week in, week out, and maybe just takes time to acclimate to the Pep way and all those type comments that people make, where it takes a season and et cetera, et cetera. But we just got basically no Nico G, no run of games whatsoever. It was very, very strange, and maybe he's just fed up with it because he wants to play to make sure he's available for the World Cup. It would be a real shame to see a young, promising 23-year-old who we just spent 50, 60 million on leave within 6 months, when we have players in front of him on this depth chart that we have in the midfield that are leaving within 12 months. Gundogan is not staying much longer. Kovacic surely leaves within 12 months. Bernardo will leave probably next summer when the contract ends. And it doesn't make sense. You'll still need someone to back up Rodri and play alongside Rodri, and you can't put it all on Tijani Reinders. You do need another player in that position. So it doesn't make sense to sell the guy that we have ready-made. So it does make sense that City have basically denied that. Again, Sam Lee said he doesn't think that's true. But again, his agent could potentially be the one putting these rumors out there. Then Simon Bajkowski comes out, another good City source, says City expect him back at the end of July with the club not looking to sell him. So this is good news. I would be really just, like I said, shocked if he does leave. Maybe there's like a 5% chance. It's possible. You never know. The summer is long. Anything can happen. Of course, it's a transfer window. If, let's say, he didn't play because Pep has realized he's not any good and Saudi comes in and wants to pay us our money back, then maybe City do it. But I would be surprised. I can't get behind that actually happening. Then we get this bit of news here. Senior Man City player encouraged to seek a new club this summer. Concerns over poor fit focus in training, disruptive to standards, off-field lifestyle seen as misaligned with squad culture. There's a bit of discussion in the comments. Who is this about? Because it's not really news if it's about Grealish or Kyle Walker to me. Maybe it is, and it's just recycled news, but Purple Panel is normally a pretty good source, and for him to say an exclusive that Kyle Walker or Jack Grealish were disruptive July 7th of all times, I just feel like it's a bit of nothing content. So maybe this is about Nico G. I feel like probably not, and it is more likely that it's about Grealish or Walker. But again, I don't really understand how this is news, but this did get a lot of play online and a lot of people talking, and I thought I would at least mention it. But it would be super weird if it was about anyone other than Kyle Walker or Jack Grealish. Now, today, we're back to today's news. It's interesting. We get a little bit disheartening news, for me at least. I was hopeful of some more positive news on no loans for these two guys here. Girona have received the okay to resume loan deals with the City Football Group because they are no longer competing in Champions League, which was obviously the issue last season. And if we do send players on loan, which we can do, Echeverri is highly liked but has other offers, while Vitor Hayes is seen as a more feasible option, according to this report here, which is Nuria Velama, which I'm guessing comes out of Spain. So, maybe City would deny that initially. But, again, these are two players I want to see in the team. I don't want them going out on loan. Do I want Vitor Hayes in the squad? Yes. Do I want Echeverri in the squad? Yes. Other players can be sold to free up spots for these guys. I don't understand spending the money that we did on these players. Echeverri was, 20 million or so. Hayes was 32 million or so. Just to loan them, I feel like it just puts a damper on the player. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but how many players have been loaned out at Man City and came back and made it and stayed for an extended period of time? For me, I don't see it working out. It just doesn't happen. If you're good enough, when we buy you, you're good enough to play. We don't loan players out. It's just not what City do. City loaned out recently James McAtee. He came back. He didn't make it. He's getting sold. I mean, Foden never got loaned out. Palmer never got loaned out. He just wanted to leave. I cannot see a scenario where you loan out a player like Vitor Hayes or Echeverri, and that is a good thing for them, for their chances of making it in the first team. Maybe it's good business and they do well and up their value, and then we sell them to the club we loaned them to, or to, another level up from Girona. Like, these guys go to Girona on loan, they do well, and we sell them to Atletico Madrid. Whatever. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't bode well, in my opinion, for them to make it at City if they go out on loan. I think if Pep sees something in them, they stay and they play. And you sell players who are not going to be good enough either in a year or are already on the decline, like Akanji, Ake, Stones, Gundo, Kovacic. That's just my personal opinion on it. I would so much rather those players leave than these young guys go out on loan. If getting a chance means the older players who are not good enough anymore have to go, that just makes sense to me. Now, we've talked about this a bit, but Vitor Hayes is an interesting one. We have 7 center backs at the club. We cannot keep all of them. It's impossible. It doesn't make any squad management sense to have 7. I think 5 is probably the number you do. Stones maybe is one that can go, and you need one more. Is it Vitor Hayes? I hope not. I hope it's Akanji. I just don't think Akanji has what it takes at the highest level for Man City to be a week in, week out starter. And I'm sure with the Club World Cup, with the World Cup next summer, he'll want to play. And if Akanji's okay with not playing, then I guess we can keep him. But I just would rather see the young players given a chance than going back to players who are without a doubt on the decline. It is a frustrating scenario to think that two of the most highly rated academy prospects that we have, or young player prospect transfers that we've done, we won't get to see again for another year. Maximo Perrone is another one that comes to mind. Came in, thought he was going to bang, went on loan, never saw him again. Sold for profit. I would hate to see that happen to these guys because I think they are quality players and have the potential to make it here. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they're just math equations, and City just will loan them and sell them for money and buy someone else later. I don't know, but it is rather annoying seeing that, as these guys are the ones likely to leave. It's unfortunate. Then a little bit later today, we get some news on Tino Livramento. So Craig Hope, which I'm not certain on the reliability of Craig Hope. I have not honestly come across Craig Hope. He's not a Man City specific reporter. Maybe he's the Daily Mail's Newcastle reporter. I don't know. You guys can let me know in chat. But my sources in Manchester say they'd go to 65 million for the defender, which is probably accurate. I could see that as being reasonable. And the word back from Newcastle is basically, screw off, leave us alone. We're not selling him for 165. So, I mean, that is about as clear-cut as it is. I don't think the guy would make up these figures. Maybe he would, and that's just what people do. But if we're taking him at his word, Livramento seems basically dead. No chance of happening. Obviously, City are not going to go anywhere near what Newcastle are asking, if that's what they're saying. He quoted as saying, Newcastle know Livramento is as good as irreplaceable given his age, profile, versatility, not to mention ability, huge scope for improvement. Young players like Livramento and Lewis Hall know they're best off under Eddie Howe's tutelage at this stage in their career. This part is a little interesting. There is also a feeling young players like Livramento and Lewis Hall know they're best off under Eddie Howe. I mean, I feel like if they got the opportunity to work for Pep, they would probably say that, like every player who we signed comes in and says, Pep is the best coach of all time. I'd rather be nowhere else than here because I get to work with Pep. So, I mean, this part I probably don't really believe. Like, how is working under Eddie Howe better for you than working under Pep? It's probably not. Like, that's not really what I would be buying. But I do buy that Newcastle have zero interest in selling. And I've said from day one that Newcastle will want a world record fee for a fullback. And is Livramento a world record fee fullback type player? No, he's just not. Hakimi is a world record type fullback. Nuno Mendes is a world record type fullback, but that's not quite the stage Livramento is at the moment. And, maybe you think in City's mind that he gets there and he becomes England's best right back and he's a bang-on starter for 8-9 years. But that is a huge gamble to go to the world record number for. I think he's going to get to that level and is not already there. I don't think it happens. I would be shocked. So I think it's time to look at alternatives for the right back position, which is why I think the Dumfries stuff could get some traction over the next month into August if he decides he wants to leave, and City realize they're not getting Livramento. Maybe that picks back up. And then to the last bit of news, it's a bit about Jack Grealish. Clubs in Saudi are interested in making Jack Grealish one of the world's best paid players. Now this is I like this, because if we're going to sell a player and there's a struggling market for him, as it seems teams around the world do not want to buy Grealish because of his wage demands, why not take advantage of the Saudi market? It's not our job to worry about, is Jack Grealish, is his move going to position him in a good place for the World Cup in 2026? That it cannot be on City's mind. It needs to be, how can City improve? City don't really care, to be honest, about the World Cup next year. Grealish wants to play, of course, but if Saudi can pay us 40, 50 million for Grealish and we get his wages off the books, that is fantastic business. Who cares that it's Saudi Arabia where Jack Grealish goes? Who cares that it's a crap league and that's where careers go to end and it's MLS B and all this nonsense? It doesn't matter. On the books, it's good business for City. Selling players to Saudi is a thing, and City should take advantage of it if they can. So, should Grealish want to go to Saudi? I don't know. I feel like, isn't alcohol illegal there? I'm not certain that would be a very good fit, to be honest. Grealish in Saudi, if that's like his thing. But it's an option. Apparently, it is an option. I'll skip this Rodrigo one because we did get some more Grealish news here. Grealish's future still has to be determined, despite numerous clubs showing interest. An initial loan where he will play regularly still seems the most likely option. Now, that one is the worst case scenario for me. I despise the idea of Grealish going on loan and us paying part of his wages, and then we just wait a year and we do it again. We loan him again next season. It's terrible. It's the Calvin Phillips, João Cancelo situation. It's loan. Eventually sell for nothing. I would much, much rather sell for whatever we can get him for, get him fully off the books, and use the money saved to improve the squad elsewhere. So while this report from the Mail is saying this is the most likely, I still hold out hope that a big Saudi team comes in and wants to use the Jack Grealish name and marketability for the league, and that's where he goes, and it's good business for City. That's what I'm kind of hopeful for. And I'm sad that it didn't work out for Grealish. I liked him. He was one of the guys I liked watching a lot, but you're not doing the business for City. You have no use to us on our loan books. It's not for me. So, final story of this live series here. Fabrizio Romano talking about Rodrigo. And I just want to bring up the wording at all. The wording is interesting to me. So he basically says, reports on Rodrigo and Al Nassr are wide of the mark, same as Martinelli, blah, blah, blah. Al Nassr are working on different targets, not crazy expensive. Who cares? This is irrelevant. This is the part that's interesting to me. Rodrigo's only focus is on European football. Now, European football means anywhere in Europe. And if he's leaving Madrid, he's going somewhere in Europe. It intrigues me that it does not say Rodrigo's focus is only on Real Madrid, or only on fighting for his place, or is only on impressing Xabi Alonso. It is only on earning his left wing spot over Vinicius, whatever. It says his only focus is European football, which to me indicates this guy is leaving. He is leaving Real Madrid. And I know there's a huge debate on whether or not we need Rodrigo. Rodrigo fits into the team. If Rodrigo leaves Madrid, he is going to one of the bigger teams in the world. He's going to City, he's going to Arsenal, PSG, or Bayern. He's not going to Barcelona. He's not going anywhere in Italy. They don't have the money. It's going to be Bayern Munich, PSG, or a Premier League team. And the Premier League team is either City, Liverpool, or Arsenal, probably. if we're being honest. That's what's going to happen. He's not going to go to United. He's not going to go to Chelsea. They have too many wingers. And I would hate to miss out on Rodrigo because he goes to Arsenal. And I know, or Liverpool even. It's not specifically that he goes to Arsenal and I don't like Arsenal, or he goes to Liverpool and I don't like Liverpool, but it's that he strengthens our rival in competing for the Premier League. He's only 24. He can play on the left. He can play on the right. He's just good. He just is a good, talented player. And yes, his last year here was not as good. He had 6 goals and 5 assists in La Liga, but he only played 30 games. The season before, he had 10 goals, 5 assists. Let's see here. He actually outperformed his XG this season. He did not get a run of games in the same way that he had been. I mean, you can see here, it's been an up and down road for Rodrigo as far as actually getting starts in La Liga. Like, if you look back to his first few years, 12, 10, 17, 25, 28, 22 starts in the league. And he has been consistently over the last 3 years a double-digit G&A guy. I am certain if Rodrigo gets a run of games, he can hit 20 G&A in the Prem, whether it's on the right or on the left. I think that is something that you buy players that are world-class if they're available, even if you think it might be difficult to fit them in. I just think it's something that you do. I think the thing that comes to mind for me is Manchester United signing Robin van Persie. Did they need Van Persie? Maybe not, but Van Persie was available and they got him. Now, maybe Rodrigo is not Van Persie level good, but I have seen enough times from watching Real Madrid that this dude is good. He is a quality player. I am certain he would do well for City. I just am. And maybe City don't go for it or don't believe in Rodrigo, but there's been so many links between City and Rodrigo that I just think it's a possibility. It could potentially happen. And I think it's maybe a let's watch this space type thing, because I don't know that anything's going to happen before like mid-August on this. He's going to go on his vacation as soon as Real Madrid are out of the Club World Cup or they win it or whatever happens. Nothing's going to happen until he's back from vacation or holiday, as you guys over there say it. So, one to monitor. We'll say that. One to monitor for sure. Now, let me check and see if there's any bit of more news. Nothing really. No. Nothing City related from Fabrizio or any of the big time Twitter aggregators. Nothing really. But anyway, I do appreciate it. This was kind of a recap of this week so far, the last 3, 4, 5 days, like I said. If you're watching on replay, do leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts on the rumors. Should we go for Dumfries? Do you want to go for Livramento, even at that ridiculous price? Rodrigo, what are your thoughts? Jack Grealish as well. There's a lot of bits of information out there, and hopefully over the next, 2 weeks, we get some more news. We get some actual solid movement in some transfers and some outs, because that is going to be very, very important for City going forward. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it as always. Hit the like button and sub if you are new. We're going for 400 subs. Getting very close to that number. So